Hey, okay, ready for another one? This is right after the third session, and in the last session I put in the dark trees, which was necessary to get the glare out of there, and that is what frames my composition. So I really needed to do that. Also put in the foreground light green, which needs to get a lot lighter, but that's like the undercoat of the light green. And those white spots left over are the rocks that I'm going to try to put in right now. So wish me luck, because my rocks have not been particularly successful in the past. I mixed some grays, some darker grays, and some lighter grays, and I'm gonna go in with the darks first. So that's on this side because my source of light is coming from over here. And kind of darker to lighter, but overall more dark. And then I'm gonna put in my lighter, the tips of the rocks at the tips ish somehow. And also in the process make them jagged looking, which means I may need to use my brush with this angle on it. Yeah, at least for the white parts. We'll see. I tend to gravitate toward my round brush because I'm the most comfortable with it. Let's get this one out of the way. I got some fresh paper towels here, all ready to, oops, this one needs to be cleaned. Okay. Oh boy. And I'm doing what I said I didn't really want to do, which was to go gray with the rocks. I want to have some kind of an undercolor there. Maybe I should put in a little bit of violet. You know, I should do that first. Make just a tiny little hint of violet. And put that into the gray, just so they're not just gray. Wow, that new blue really is stronger. Okay, now I'm starting to feel it. Now that I mixed a little red with the blue, I'm having to put even less blue than I did before. The blue was already strong to begin with, but it's really strong now. Okay, so I have a gray with, it still looks gray. It's still very gray, but it's got just a little bit of violet in there, which I think is going to work because eventually I want to put just a tiny hint of violet up here, so it's a little bit more sunset-ish. And then maybe violet flowers in the foreground to kind of catch your eye and continue that circular thing going on. Oh boy, all right, no more procrastinating. Let's try this. Oh God. Oh my goodness. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. Okay. That's really dark. But that's just the shady color. See, this should have shapes because the rocks are all jagged. Oops, wrong color. I don't know why the rocks are so intimidating because the mountains, that's just bigger version of rocks. And somehow I figured out how to do my edges and the highlights and the lowlights so it looks like mountains. But, and you know, the rocks are essentially the same thing, but for some reason it's a struggle. It's just practice. I'll get there. And I tried drawing. I have a little sketchbook that I totally don't have with me right now, but I try to practice drawing rocks and mountains, and it's so different actually painting it because it's not just lines, it's it's volume. Of course, they're related, but practicing drawing doesn't really help me a whole heck of a lot here. Okay, this should be two different rocks, so I'm going to put in that. So the idea is I'm gonna come in, actually I'm gonna bring in a smaller brush Okay. That's not terrible. I'm going to bring in my smaller brush in a slightly lighter gray. I think this brush has had it for a while. We're too fine right now. So, where's my violet? Oh, I used up all my violet. Need more violet. Oh yeah, that blue is strong. Okay. Violet, white, and light gray. That's pretty, but it's too violet. Need more black and white. White, black. Maybe I'll just go for the highlights and then try to do the midgrounds in between. Somehow connect it all up. And at the very end, put in the real highlights, just the tips of the rocks. I should have done just a whole separate practice session of just rocks, but go for it. Let's just go for it. I'll figure it out as I go. Sorry if my audio is subpar. I'm still trying to figure out this whole thing. I'll get it dialed in. Oh, that's not terrible. Not really jagged, but there's something. Are you thinking about painting it? It's a lot of fun. It's funny when I get to a point where I'm really liking it, so I'm actually like really invested in it and I don't want to mess it up more and more. Yeah, that kind of looks like rocks. I don't hate this. It's not great, but if you look at it, I think it does look like rocks. See right there. Now they're floating in space. I need to ground them. ground the rocks. But it's something, you know. Don't move. And I need a better contrast between the rocks and the grass behind it, but that's a later pass. Okay, I think I need something in between, an in between shade. Maybe I'm jumping the gun a little. I should. Oh, okay, maybe not. Hmm. Hmm. Yeah, I'm not crazy about these shapes now. Okay. Now here, I think I'm confident enough to use the bigger brush. See if that makes a difference. Ooh. Kind of looks like a sharp, jagged rock. Where's my oil? Maybe there's something to this with the flat edge. Maybe. I'll do that in-between color. Let's put in some actual shapes here. Okay, this rock is actually the best. Maybe I just need to practice. Worst, better, best. This looks like more than a rock than the first two. Like I've got a shade happening here and a little thing protruding. I still need to come in with some highlights. Okay, that looks like a rock. This looks like a crumbly mess. Hmm. A little bit of color right there. Okay. Maybe I can bring in that same magic to this over here. Of course, these are smaller, but yeah, that straight edge really makes it look more rock-ish. And this is too dark, but I'll lighten it up. I think the rule of thumb is that it's easier to make things lighter in oils than it is to make it darker. In watercolor, the opposite is true because you can't take the paint off once it's dried. You can't make it lighter. Yeah, I need a mid color right there because I've got the very light color. And these low lights are a little bit too dark. Just kind of lighten that up just a little bit. Okay, that's kind of rock-ish. I'm going to try to bring the same philosophy to this one over here. I'm running out of that beautiful violetish color. You can actually kind of tell it's got a little violet in it. Now I'm glad I did that. I didn't just mix the black and white together. I put in that white, I mean that violet, which is reflecting a color that is going to be in the sky. Ooh. Hey, that did something. Yeah, there's something magical about using a flat brush. I'm starting to see there's something good about the flat brush and doing rocks. It needs to be a little bit lighter. It needs to have a shadow. Yeah, I can see this is gonna take practice, but it's kind of happening. I can kind of see it happening, which is cool. All right, can't get around it. I gotta mix more of this lavender. Actually, I can cheat, use some of my mid-grade and add in some white. I didn't mix enough lavender before. Wow, this blue really is strong. Now I'm curious to see how my paintings are going to change once I switch over to all artist grade colors. Because right now just one of them is. Okay, bring some of that in here. Bring some white in here. I need more white. I've got a break in my tube there. I hope it doesn't dry out on me. Good Lord. Gonna need pliers. Okay. A little bit more white. The white is very weak. We really need a lot of white to make things lighter. Okay, but I got more color. And I'm going to try to work that same magic with the flat brush over here. Actually, let's try this one. Huh, yeah, that kind of looks rock-ish. See if I can connect this a little bit. Oh, yeah, look at that. I connected this and this, and it gave it so much dimension. That was a nice move. Ooh, oh my gosh. That works so good. Okay, I'm loving this brush now. You know, I think I actually bought this as one of my first brushes when I first started oil painting, because these stiffer brushes are supposed to be good for oil. And I never really use it because I like the softer brushes, but I am starting to see the value for the rocks here. Of course, the rocks do need anchoring, and the grass is going to have to be darker behind the, you know, in the foreground here, because that's behind the rocks, between the rocks and the sun. But I'm kind of liking where this is going. Let's see, I need that middle ground in here. Oops, not too much. Wow. Maybe I can actually catch on to this. I'm feeling much better about these rocks now. Okay. This looks like a weird shape. I need to... Okay. And then this... Now I just want to keep doing... make the whole thing rock. But I can't extend this one. Now with how your eye goes into the painting, I don't want to like put all rocks in the foreground as much as... Now that I kind of got the hang of it, I kind of want to keep going. But you need to be able to feel like you can walk into it, and if the whole thing is just rocks, it kind of blocks you from doing that. And I don't know, it's part of the intrigue is how your not only your eye goes into it, like, you know, I'm doing this curvature here with the whole thing, kind of like a circular thing to keep your eye inside the painting, but I also want you to feel like you have the ability to walk in here, because I want it to be inviting. I want this painting to feel good. And it'll feel good if you, one, like the image, and two, feel invited by it. Like this is your field that you could walk into. Okay. This needs a shade, and this needs some shade. That needs shade. Picking up some of that green I just put down. This needs to be jagged. Maybe I'll use this again. I would like to hop around this rock barefoot, just take my shoes off and then just feel the surface with my feet and then climb to the top of this and sit there and just look out at the forest. That feels like something I would like to do. I paint a lot of foresty scenes because I'd like to be there. I'd like to imagine myself in a forest. I can stretch this out just a little bit. Grew up playing in the forest and climbing trees and that kind of fun stuff. Kind of like to do that again. So I paint it. I can ground that right there. Okay. It's not perfect, and I may have to come back and do some touch-ups, but it does look like rocks, so I'm actually kind of impressed. I'm going to take this one off the edge. I'm going to use my trusty flat brush again. See if I can add a little bit here. Take it off the edge of the painting. But they are kind of floating in space, and I'm not crazy about that. But I think if I just put some lines of grass, that'll do something. And I like this technique of using two different brushes for two different colors, so I'm not constantly switching back and forth. Need to do that more often. Okay. I think this needs to be a little lighter. Where's my white? No, I think at the end I'm going to come back in with some highlights. This needs a little finesse. This is too dark. Okay. Let's see what it looks like from the... Huh. Yeah, I'm cool with that. I'm actually going to connect these two right here. So it's a big rocky thing, but this is your path. And then I want to work on... I could probably work on the mid-ground, but I don't want to work on the foreground while my rocks are still really wet. But let's see if I can connect this using my trusty rock maker. Yeah, now that I got a technique, I just want to do rocks. Watch, my next painting is going to be a sky and rocks. I just might do that. Maybe something dark now to provide a little shadow. Oh, too much. I think I made mud. Mud is when you have too much paint on canvas. I don't think that's a thing with acrylic. I think that's an oil thing. I like that though, because there's gaps in there, so it's like it's rocky areas, but there's grass coming through, and that leaves me the opportunity to put in like little wispy strands and things. And I like that it's touching the bottom right here. Maybe here make it a little bit less equal, less or more natural looking, less less balanced. Oh, too dark, too dark. There, but not too much. Get a little highlight going. Oh, yeah. Wow. This is where the hard part is. The technique of the brushwork. Like, see here, I didn't really know what I was doing yet. Not that I'm an expert, but I know more than I did a half hour ago, I can tell you that. Yeah, this is the tough part, is having the technique to do leaves and trees and rocks and water. Maybe my next one will be rocks and water and really take on a challenge. Water is tough. I have done water and I've done it fairly successfully. Oh, I was moving the camera around. Pardon me. But it was a struggle getting there. That just means I need to do more of it and get better. Okay. All right, that's not bad. That's actually not bad. This is much better than I was expecting. I didn't know how I was gonna do it, but I didn't know if it was gonna look good. I'm just bringing in some highlights here. Some white. I'm just using the very tip. Oops, too much paint. Very tip of my brush here. I should wait to do this, but now I'm all excited about doing edges. Nope, I need to wait and do this later. Okay. It's just hints. All right. Just hints of rocks. Yeah, this highlight that I try to do, it's too late. Oh, that's my Roy G man meowing. Sweetie, it's not dinner time yet. No. No, my love. Gotta wait a couple hours. Oh, I know you'd like food. Yes. I don't know if you can hear him across on the mic, but I've got a hungry kitty behind the door there. Kitties are not allowed in this room because there's dangerous chemicals and things I really don't want the kitties to get into. Usually I let my cats anywhere because they're family, they're part of the house, but this is for their own safety. Okay, I'm gonna stop messing with that. So I think the best thing right now is to let the rocks dry out a bit. Oh, this is a little... Now I'm gonna want to do nothing but rocks. This is a little bit... This needs more texture. So yeah, as soon as I'm done with the rocks, I'm gonna stop this area, but I think I can do a little bit of something with the midground there. I'm really at a loss as to what to do there, but I'll just put something down and see what comes out of it. Oh, this is not bad. A little bit of lighter color here. Okay, I think that's... Come to a point there. Okay, there. That way it wasn't a blunt edge. All right, I'm putting these aside now, and I'm gonna, let's see. I have some green mixed from when I was working on the tree, which is not a bad thing. Obviously, these trees will have to get grounded. So, oh boy, what do I do with this mid-ground? Maybe some browns or something, add in some streaks. Can't do be too drastic with it because I already have these trees in there, and painting behind it is gonna be a pain. But let's see what I can do with these greens I have. So I have some more yellow. I have some of this. You know what? I mix some of this white with the green and a little bit of that burnt sienna to make it a little bit brownish. And see what kind of a color I can come up with. Got the burnt sienna. Take some of this green, which I already have. A little bit of blue to dull it down a little bit. It's almost the same color. It's funny. A little bit of blue and more white so it doesn't get too dark. Oh, that's pretty blue, but that's not a bad thing. I could maybe do a line by the forest over there. Let's head back to my forest. Let's put a little oil in there too. This is scary. It doesn't have to be a... Oh yeah, oh there we go. A bit of dry brush technique. It's like an in-between color between the forest and the mid-grounds. Let's see what that looks like. Whoops. Oh yeah. Okay, all right. Maybe I should use my flat brush for it. I'm starting to love my flat brushes now. Oh, I've got another one. This is really flat. Wow, this is so not meant for oils. What about this? I like my long handle though. It's funny, I'm starting to really appreciate what oil specific brushes are made for. Long handle, stiff bristles. More horizontal lines make it more background-ish. Foreground lines are more vertical. That's one of the things that makes your eye think it's more vertical or more in the foreground. Let's see, now I need more yellow in there to make it more foregroundish. So I'm going to continue doing the same thing, just closer together and more yellow. Maybe this is where I start bringing in maybe some shrubbery or something. I need a shrubbery. There we go. These are just tiny little brush strokes. Yeah, this is the part that requires some skill and practice, is just using brush strokes to suggest things. Back here it's still kind of horizontal. This is where it starts to become more brush-ish. Like some kind of different kind of shrubbery. This should be darker. Okay. Hold on. Gotta check. Definitely looking better than just that blob. I didn't like that blob of green I had. So now that I've got more in the foreground, I need to put in, let's put in just a little bit more red. It's a little risky, but I want it to be warmer. Maybe just a little bit more yellow. Hopefully it doesn't get too orange. Okay, that's actually a pretty good color. Make this little, can actually bring in and ground this tree right here by putting this shrubbery around it. Oh, I'm liking this. Oh my gosh. You know what? I am pretty proud of myself. Because I was really struggling with how I was going to ground those trees and even the rocks and everything, but doing this progression from this color that looks almost like this forest back here, and then bringing it a little bit closer, and then making it a little bit warmer and a little bit warmer, and now more vertical, is actually really doing a good job of creating this impression of it's a little bit more foreground, and it's foreground enough that I can use it to ground these trees, because grounding trees is, I've done trees before and it was kind of challenging. So if I do this, yeah, that's pretty good. And then I've got this line of this yellowish. I'm going to keep that line there, but I am going to make a little, add a little yellow to what I've got right now and try to do the same to these trees right here. Oh, this is exciting. I was not loving this until I got to this part, and I'm starting to really enjoy these placement of these trees. Yeah, just, oops, don't want to mess up my rocks. So I got a yellowish color to kind of match this band here and to match this light-ish color I have here. Let's see. Just a little bit. Oh, it's really serious now that I'm standing up, huh? I don't usually stand up. It's good to stand up when you paint because you can move around a lot more, and it's you have more freedom. It affects your brush strokes. Usually I'm just kind of lazy and sitting on my butt. This needs a little. There. Little tuft of shrubbery. And then maybe this line right here shouldn't be quite so harsh. Huh. I actually kind of like that line. Wow, this is really working out. I've learned a lot in 3 years. Someday I'll pull out the first oil painting I did, and it was sad, but I'm glad I kept it because it shows me where I started and where I progressed. And I've made nicer paintings than that in acrylic before, but it's just a completely different animal painting in oil. I started out my first oil knowing the different qualities of oils, but I still painted like it was acrylic, and it was just not good. Yeah, now that I've played it up, I'm gonna have to find it and pull it out. But I did just move, and I have a lot of things still in boxes, and don't quite know where that is. It's okay if these lines are there, kind of fluffy and not well defined because it's the background and you don't see things that clearly. I should do this once in a while, show you a nice good close-up. But yeah, that mid-ground is really starting to look much better. Hey, let me make sure I didn't pull out my microphone. Oh, okay. That would be bad. That would mean I would have to learn how to do voiceovers. Too early. I don't wanna do that yet. All this technical stuff is, I just want to paint. I want to share my painting. I want to get other people painting. All the technical stuff. Oh man. Much respect to people who do that for a living. Okay, I feel like I can, what this needs most right now is the grass in the foreground. That can really make the foreground what it is by putting in some vertical grasses and maybe some just tiny little lavender dots to make it look like wildflowers and stuff. But there's just no way I can do that with my rocks there. So I think that's going to be another session is coming back to touch up the rocks and putting in grass, probably not in that order. Probably put in the grass and then touch up the rocks. But right now, I have the opportunity to do this part here. I'm not crazy about this area, so let's see what I can do here. This shrubbery here could use some low lights because it's just kind of flat. Let's put in a little bit. Actually, I can put in a little bit of this color from the trees. Cohesiveness is important, so using color I used over here in other areas, I need to do that better because sometimes I end up with like gray blob, green blob, blue blob, another green blob, and not a whole lot of overlap when there should be more overlap. That's something I should strive for in the future is as I'm working on this, just put this color in here and while I'm working over here, put that color down here just so it's there. So right now I'm mixing a slightly darker version of this here so I can create some low lights. Let's see what I can do here. Maybe this is the wrong brush now. Oh, that's actually good. Just a little bit of shadow root. Oh, yeah. Okay, that makes it look like it's a shrubbery with a bottom and it's got some little things coming out the front or at the top. See if I could do that here too. This should be darker. Constantly mixing color when you do this kind of progression thing. Just a little bit more blue to make it darker. Try to not use black. Black makes things bland. Sometimes you just need more oomph. Okay. Maybe I'm going to use black. I just said I try not to use black, and here I am. I don't want to use too much blue because blue will push it toward the background, and this is more in the foreground, so I just need a darker. That's always a struggle. Okay. Okay, all right. Maybe just tiny little bits of highlights. Where's my tiny thin little brush? Glad I got this. Now I need a lighter version of what this thing I've got going on. Slightly lighter. Okay, just slight little hints. Oh yeah, just a little bit of shrubbery. Gotta have my shrubbery. And slightly longer brush strokes in the foreground. Makes it look closer to you. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, I like that. Just little hints. Wow. I really have learned a thing or two in the last 3 years. Maybe on the next one I'm gonna go for a larger canvas. This is I think this is 9 by 12, and it's really just paper. It's watercolor paper that I gessoed so that it could accept the oil paint. But I have some canvas boards I'm gonna start using. Okay, just little hints of this, and I'm also gonna bring it into this section here too. Just little bits of there, here and there, so they're not totally isolated. That cohesion I was just talking about, so it's not all like poof, just there. It comes into this yellowish band that I have too. Not a whole lot, just little hints. I'm gonna step away a little bit. Let's see what this looks like. Okay, yeah, I'm liking that. Hmm. Yeah, I think I need to leave it here. I think I need to leave this here. Just a tiny little bit more. Where are those low lights? So that shrubbery isn't on its own. Highlights should have some low lights along with them. Okay. Yeah, I kind of like that. Just a little bit taller because they're closer to the eye. So some horizontals. Okay, that's pretty cool. One last thing I want to do is blend just a little bit of this. And I think I need oil to do that. Just a little bit of oil. I need an eyedropper or something. I'm not sure if this is the way to do it, but I just drag. I'm just gonna, oh, there we go. Dragging a little bit of oil across this because it looks a little bit too dry brush technique. I mean, there's a time and place for dry brush, but it was just not looking, it was looking a little bit too dry. Make those lines a little bit more fluid. Shit. Wow. I thought I had a footrest right there, and I did not. That could have ended badly. Okay. Let's take a look at this. All right, I think I'm gonna connect it up to this tree right here and then leave it. I know I keep saying that, huh? This is where I'm gonna keep saying, oh, just a little bit more, just a little bit more. And I'm gonna end up messing it up. No, I'm not gonna mess it up. I have faith in myself. Sort of. I just didn't want it to end like a quarter inch away from the tree, so it was obvious that I had wet paint that I was trying to avoid. I think the future will involve a little bit of texture in the sky because the sky very much looks like a first pass. I want to put in maybe a cloud or two. Maybe it's not needed. There's already so much happening here. Maybe it doesn't need any clouds because I wanted to actually practice putting some poofy little clouds, but maybe that's for another painting. But the sky will need a little bit of touching up. And I want to put in just a little bit of lavender because I put a little bit of lavender into the gray in the rock here. So I want to reflect that because technically the rock should be reflecting the lavender in the sky. So I need to put that in there. And another step is going to be just a little bit more highlights into the trees. There's some really light green poking through that was there originally that needs to be covered up. And then the tall grasses with some hints of wildflowers in the front. And I think I'm going to be done pretty soon. It's kind of exciting. It's actually well, I don't want to say it went fast. I'm still not done, but it's proceeding pretty good. I keep thinking I could do something to the forest, but maybe it's got too much variation of color. It's so far in the background, I really shouldn't be seeing so many highlights right there. And so I might do a wash, which is a blue with that's a very diluted blue, like with turpentine and maybe some oil. I'm gonna have to remind myself how to do it. I think it was like 50-50 oil and turpentine with a little blue, and just to put a wash over the whole thing to kind of push it more into the background. Because I like the forest, but it's got all these very light colored highlights that are about actually lighter than the highlights I have up here, and that shouldn't be. The further back something is, the less variation you see in between the values, and I think that's the thing that's bugging me. It's that it's just there's too much. The highlights there are just too bright. Yeah, yeah, but I think we're good. I think we're pretty good here. Oh, you know what? This top of this tree is not good. Now that I'm good with my tiny little brush, I'm gonna see if I can fix that. Why did I just now see that? Okay. I gotta get some floofies happening here. Little details. Just little details. Oh yeah, that's much better. It's actually kind of leaning and kind of curved, but honestly, that's okay because trees do stuff like that. Oh yeah. A little bit of detail to the branches here. Oh yeah, that's actually kind of cool. Same thing over here. Don't want to make this one too tall because the heights need to be planned randomness. Oil. Okay. More oil. White covered. Got a little bit of white peeking through, and that's kind of cool actually. Here, I was painting on wet, so it looks a little different. Yeah, I think this tree here, it looks so different because I was painting on wet, and that makes such a big difference. Let me see if I can pull in some oil. Fix this up because it's a lot more, the paint is a lot more fluid when there's oil in it. Oh yeah, that helped. Just a little bit taller. There. It'll need some highlights. Let's see. Got this lighter color. Oh yeah, okay, that's doing something. A little bit on this side. This side's technically in the shade, but some of the longer branches will reach out to where there's sun reaching it. Okay. Okay, I think that's much better than what it was before. I'll still want to come back in and put in some highlights onto the trees. I just don't want to mess with it more right now because it's all wet. Let's see. Yeah, this is getting somewhere. Yeah, the foreground rocks definitely look weird, but I'm gonna come back and fix that. It's just a stage. Yeah, cool. All right. I'm gonna clean up and I'll see you in the next session. I think that'll be session 5. I think this was number 4, so see you soon.